In today's world, we have so many apps running in a siloed fashion. The functionality of Salesforce is excellent, but separate to your e-commerce platform and zero platforms. With Make, you can connect the functionality of these apps and platforms together and automate across them. In this video, I'll show you how Make works and how to set up a basic automation using Google Forms, email, and Slack to demonstrate a basic inquiry desk. So let's get building. In this automation, we're going to connect Google Forms to an automated email response from Gmail and notify us in Slack that we've had an inbound inquiry. The first thing you want to do is set up a Google Form. So I've set up this basic one here, and the key thing to remember to start with is this Google Form ID here. So copy that and save it for later. Then go into make.com and sign up for a new account. You can see here on the left-hand side, there's a templates bit, and this will give you all of the most popular templates that you can use to implement integrations between things like Notion and Google Calendar or Telegram and Google Sheets. So these templates are a really good place to start if you don't want to build something custom. Or if you want to build a custom one, click on scenarios, and then you can see here we've got create scenario, and that will allow you to create a brand new scenario from scratch. So you can see here we've got the integration of Google Forms. So the first thing we've got is the Google Form itself. So that's our starting node. Whatever you want to trigger the automation is the one that you want to use as the starting node. So for instance, in this one, we want an inbound Google Form to start that automation, which will then send an email and then send us a message in Slack to say you've had an inbound inquiry. With this bit here, you'll have to set up and connect to your Google account. So add it in there and authenticate it as you would if you were logging into Google. This is the form ID that we spoke about earlier on. So paste that in so it's related to that specific Google form, and then click save. The next thing you want to do is connect the next node. So I wanted to send an email back to the person that's inquired. So let's open up Gmail. So again, what you have to do here is add that connection to your Google account so that it connects to the correct email address to send it from. Then we can set up the response itself. So we want to send the email to the answers from the Google form. So you'll remember here, we've got the email address here as one of the questions. And what we're adding here is recipient email address. So this is that email address that we're pulling out here. So when it comes in, it knows to respond to it. And to add that in, what you do is you click on this box here, and then you drill down into the answers, and then you can go into this section here, click on the text answer, again, click on answers, and then drag that value into this box here. You don't want to add in the high level first name, last name, or the email one here, because that will take the whole object. What you want to do is just pull out the specific value that's within that object itself, so the email address. Then we can also add in a CC, so we can also copy ourselves into that email reply if we want to. Then further down, we can then create the subject and the body of the email itself. So subject, thank you for your inquiry. The body type, we want a collection of contents here, and then we'll create the body contents itself. So hi, first name, this again is that value. So go into the answers, first name, text answers, and then the value. We want it to respond to James. We don't want to put in the first name here because that will take the whole of the object across rather than the specific value of James. So put hi James, thank you for getting in touch with us. We'll reach out in the next 24 hours and we'll support you with, and again, this is one of the answers here. So you remember on the demo form, we've got the reason for getting in touch, and we're pulling that reason to get in touch into this response. So we're acknowledging what their inquiry was about and that we'll respond to them. But again, we don't want to drag in the whole reason for getting in touch because it will pull in the whole object. So again, we want to pull in the reason for getting in touch here, drill down into that. So the text answer, answers, and then the actual value. So supporting our AI adoption as an example, and drag the value in like that and pop it into the box. And then further down here, we've got, in the meantime, feel free to check out our free education hub at youtube.com/JamesArcataz, free plug there. So what we've done is here, we've connected our Gmail to Google Forms via this automation. We've created the template email address, and it will pull out the specific values from the Google form to be able to respond to it properly in the email itself. And then once you're happy with your email, click save, and then we can go on to the next step. So the next step is I've set up this demo org here in Slack, and I've got this all JC demo org and the Arcataz query form. So this is a channel within Slack. And again, what you have to do is in the settings, you'll have to authenticate the make.com integration to make sure that Make is connected to Slack. So again, like you did with the Gmail, you'll have to add in your connection here from Make to Slack, and then in Slack, authenticate that to make sure that the two platforms can talk to each other. Then we've got here, enter a channel ID name. So we've added in the Slack node, we've connected it to our Slack demo org, and then we're going to enter in the channel ID name. So this is where I'm telling Make to post a message into Slack to say we've had an inquiry through a Google form and we've sent an email back to them. So here you can see the channel ID name. This is the channel ID name that you can get from Slack so that make.com knows what channel to post the message into. And again, here, what you can see is in the text box here, I've said, this is how I want you to post the message. So name, and then what we've put here is the first name and the last name. Again, making sure just to pull in the value itself. So I'll just show you that again. We go first name, the text answers, and then pull in that value in. And we do the same for the last name as well. So we're just pulling in the value, not the whole object itself. Then we're pulling in the value of the company, so the organization name that we asked about in the Google form over here. Again, we're drilling down into the answers and we're pulling that value in. And then again, with the email address, we're pulling that in as well. So the text answers, pull that whole value in, and then any notes. So I've called the reason for getting in touch the notes. And again, we're pulling in the value itself to this bit here. So when it posts in Slack, it will have name, and then the first and last name, company, and then the organization name, email, and the address that the person popped into the Google form, and then any notes, which is the reason for getting in touch. And that will then post it into the Slack channel that I've identified up here. And then once we're happy with that, we can click save, and we've got our basic automation. And now to test this, we're going to go back to the Google form. So I'm going to click on submit here, and that's been submitted. And then when we go back to our integration, I'm just going to click on run once. And what you can see here is it's picked up that response, it's processed it through the Gmail, and it's also sent us a message in Slack. So here's the first thing that's been sent. And you can see here it's put in that bit of text and it's pulled through the reason for getting in touch as well. And then in the meantime, feel free to check out the free education hub. So that's the second node here that's been automated. It sent us an email from our Gmail account back to us to say, we'll be in touch with you. And now we're going to Slack to see if it sent us a message in there as well. So we're going to the Architask query form, and you can see here, this is the message that we've been sent. So we know that we've had an inquiry come through to us that we might need to pick up and respond to. So in this integration, we've set up Google Forms to send an automated email and then send us a message in Slack to say, here's an inquiry that we might need to get back to within 24 hours. As you can see, not everything has to be AI related. In this scenario, we've connected 3 different apps together using Make as an automation integration. If you have platforms such as Salesforce and Xero and an e-commerce platform, and you want to connect them all together, but can't think of a good way to do it, Make is a really good solution for that. You can also connect other apps like Notion and Slack together. And remember, go into the templates folder first in Make, because they might already have an automated integration set up that you can just use as a template. If this video has helped you, like and subscribe, and I'll also link to another video at the top here now that will demonstrate how you can use Google Workspace for an automation using artificial intelligence. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.